I remember the sound first. A loud, sharp crash that tore through my ears, then the world flipped. My body flew forward like a leaf in a storm. Metal screamed, glass shattered, and all I could think was, so this is how my story ends. I saw people running toward me, but their faces looked far away, like I was watching through water. My blood felt warm on my skin. My breath was slow, too slow. Someone shouted, "She's not moving." Another voice cried, "Please don't let her die." Then everything began to fade. My sight, my hearing, even my thoughts. I felt myself slipping, like I was being pulled into a deep, dark place. Right before I blacked out completely, I whispered, "My name is Grandma Tola, and I'm not ready to die." And then, everything went silent. But before I tell you whether I lived or died in that moment, let me take you back to how that terrible day truly began. Because the accident that almost took my life didn't just happen out of nowhere. It came after a chain of events, some loud, some quiet, some warnings I saw, some warnings I ignored. That morning started so simple, so peaceful, that I had no idea my life was about to turn upside down. I woke up early as usual, long before the sun climbed into the sky. I stretched my legs slowly, the way old bones like mine demand. My small room smelled of shea butter and the warm pap I always prepared at dawn. I tied my wrapper, brushed my hair, and whispered a short prayer like every other morning. My granddaughter, Lillian, poked her head into my room with her bright smile. "Grandma, you're awake. Are you still traveling today?" I smiled at her. "Yes, my dear, I have to. Your mother needs the package I'm bringing." I didn't know that trip would almost be my last trip on Earth. I packed my small brown bag. Inside, it was a gift for my daughter, fresh herbs, a wrapper, and a letter I wrote by hand. I always loved writing her letters even though we had phones. Letters carried more heart. The road outside was calm. Birds chirped and a soft wind brushed my cheeks. The sun was rising, painting the sky with orange light. Everything felt normal, safe, peaceful, and maybe that's why I didn't sense the danger waiting ahead. I boarded a small public bus, the type everyone squeezed into whether there was space or not. The seats were old, the windows stuck, and the driver had a rough voice. But I didn't complain. Life had taught me how to endure little inconveniences. We drove for a while, passing farms, small houses, and markets just opening for the day. Children ran around barefoot. Women swept the front of their shops. A man selling roasted corn waved as we passed. My heart felt light. Too light. Suspiciously light, like life was giving me a soft smile before a storm. At some point, I noticed something strange. The driver kept pressing his foot harder on the accelerator. The bus jerked forward roughly. I held onto the metal bar in front of me. "Driver, slow down," an elderly man said beside me. "I know what I'm doing," the driver replied sharply. But something in his voice made my stomach twist. The road ahead curved slightly, and as we approached the bend, the bus began shaking. Too much. The driver panicked and twisted the wheel too fast. I felt the entire bus lurch dangerously. People screamed. Some grabbed their seats. One woman shouted, "Jesus, Jesus, Jesus." The driver yelled, the brake is not holding." That was the moment my whole body went cold. A brake failure, on a moving bus, on a bending road. Everything moved too fast. The bus swerved. The tires screeched. The metal body rattled like it wanted to tear apart. I closed my eyes for a second, not to die, but to beg God to keep me alive. And then, the bus rolled. Once, twice, 3 times. Bodies hit each other, luggage flew, windows cracked. My head slammed against the seat in front of me. I felt something warm on my forehead. It was blood, my blood. The bus finally crashed into a ditch with a loud, painful bang. I didn't move. I couldn't move. My ears rang like someone struck a bell beside my head. People were crying. Some were trying to crawl out. Someone beside me wasn't moving at all. My breath became shallow. My vision blurred. And as my body grew heavier and heavier, I realized I was losing the battle to stay awake. Someone outside shouted, "We need help. This woman is barely breathing." But their voice sounded far away. Too far. My eyes closed on their own, and the darkness swallowed me. Just when I thought my soul was leaving my body, something else happened inside that darkness. Something more shocking, something that changed the entire direction of my life. Darkness wrapped around me like a thick blanket, but it was not the peaceful kind. It was heavy, pressing, swallowing me whole. I felt like I was floating in a deep river without knowing how to swim. I could not see anything, yet somehow I felt everything. My body was weak, my mind tired, but something inside me refused to let go. Inside that darkness, a small light appeared, tiny at first, like a candle flame fighting strong wind. I moved toward it, though I didn't know how. My legs weren't moving. My arms weren't moving. My body didn't feel like mine, but the light kept pulling me closer. Then I heard a voice. Soft, gentle, familiar. Tola, open your eyes, come back. I frowned. Could it be my late mother? Could it be my husband who died many years ago? Their voices echoed in my memory so clearly that my heart trembled. The voice whispered again, Tola, the world still needs you. You are not finished yet. I wanted to answer. I tried, but only silence came out of me. The light grew brighter and brighter until it filled every corner of the darkness. And suddenly, I gasped. My eyes shot open. Bright white lights hit my face. The strong smell of antiseptic filled my nose. Machines beeped around me. Something cold ran into my arm through a tube. I was in a hospital. I blinked slowly. My world felt slow, foggy, like waking up from a dream you didn't understand. A nurse rushed to my side. Ma'am, she's awake, she's awake. Awake, had I been asleep? For how long? My throat was dry as sand. When I tried to speak, my voice cracked. Water, I whispered. She gently lifted my head and gave me a small sip. It tasted like life itself. You survived, she said softly. You're very lucky. Lucky. The memory of the accident slammed into my mind like a hammer. The crash. The screams. The rolling bus. The blood. The darkness. I froze as fear crawled through my chest. Where is everyone? I asked weakly. The nurse sighed. Some people survived, some didn't, but you fought. I closed my eyes as her words sank in. Some didn't survive. Lives were lost. Families were destroyed. And I, old, tired Grandma Tola, was still here, still breathing. Why me? Before I could ask another question, the door burst open. My daughter rose, ran into the room with tears running down her cheeks. Behind her was my granddaughter, little Lillian, crying and shaking. Mummy, Rose cried, grabbing my hand. Mummy, you scared me. They said you almost died. Oh God, what would I have done? What would my daughter have done? She held onto me like she did when she was a little girl. Her tears soaked my blanket. I touched her cheek gently. I'm here, I whispered. I'm still here. Lillian climbed onto the bed and hugged my arm tightly. Grandma, don't leave me. You promised you would come back. You promised. My heart broke into tiny pieces. I had come so close to leaving them forever. Doctors entered the room, checking my pulse, my heartbeat, my breathing. They whispered among themselves, surprised I was awake so soon. One doctor spoke to me gently. Ma'am, you suffered a head injury and lost a lot of blood. You were unconscious for 2 days, but your heart stayed strong. 2 days. 2 whole days. It felt like I had been in the dark for years. As the doctor talked, I noticed something. I couldn't feel my left leg properly. It felt numb, heavy, like it was not connected to me. I tried to move it. It didn't respond. My heart dropped like a stone in deep water. Doctor, I whispered, panic filling my voice. My leg, I can't feel my leg. Rose gasped. Doctor, what's happening? Please tell us she's fine. The doctor took a deep breath, shaking his head slowly, almost sadly. The accident caused a serious injury to your leg. We are still observing the damage, but we cannot say yet if you will walk normally again." His words stabbed me harder than any piece of broken glass from the crash. Not walk again. Me. The woman who had spent her entire life moving, working, taking care of others. I looked at my motionless leg. It just lay there like a forgotten object, useless and silent. Tears rose in my eyes, but I blinked them away when I saw the fear on Lillian's face. I had to be strong, at least in front of them. The room fell silent. Only the machines beeped. Only my breathing filled the space. Rose squeezed my hand. "Mummy, no matter what happens, we will take care of you." But inside me, fear grew. Fear that my life would never be the same. Fear that I would become a burden. Fear that this accident didn't just break a bus, but broke my destiny. Hours passed. Nurses came and left. Doctors checked on me. Family members called. But each minute was the same. I was lying there, trapped inside a body that hurt and a mind filled with confusion. Night came. Rose and Lillian slept on the small sofa beside my bed. I watched them closely. Their breathing, their calm faces, their trust in me that I would be okay. But was I really okay? Midnight passed. The hospital became quiet. The moonlight slipped through the curtains. Then suddenly, I heard footsteps outside my door, slow, heavy, uneasy. The door opened gently. A young man walked in, rough hair, dusty clothes, and a face filled with guilt. His hands trembled. His eyes looked swollen, like he had been crying for hours. He stood by the door, staring at me silently. I frowned. Who are you?" He swallowed hard. His voice cracked as he spoke. "My name is Andrew. I was the driver of the bus." My chest tightened. The driver. The same man who lost control. The same man who shouted that the brake had failed. The same man who was behind the wheel when my life almost ended. He took a shaky step forward. "Ma'am, I came to tell you the truth. Something nobody knows yet. Something about the accident." His voice broke. His eyes filled with tears. And what he said next shocked me so deeply. My heart almost stopped. Andrew's words hung in the air like a storm waiting to strike. I could hear my own heartbeat pounding, each beat louder than the last. My mouth felt dry. I wanted to ask him what he meant, but fear froze my tongue. I didn't want this to happen," he whispered finally, his voice trembling like fragile glass. "But someone tampered with the brakes. It wasn't just an accident." I blinked, trying to process what he said. My mind raced 1,000 miles an hour. Tampered brakes? Someone wanted to hurt us, me, the passengers, maybe even himself. Who did this?" I demanded, my voice shaking, but inside a chill ran down my spine. Andrew swallowed hard and looked at the floor. "I don't know their name, but I saw someone near the bus depot the night before. They were watching the bus, and I think they wanted me to drive it that way." My stomach churned. My life had been hanging by a thread, and someone had tried to pull it away from me deliberately. I felt fear, anger, and disbelief all at once. The world suddenly seemed much darker than before. Rose clutched my hand tightly. "Grandma, what are you saying?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Do you mean this wasn't just an accident?" I nodded slowly, my mind still processing. "It seems not," I said quietly. My heart was pounding. I had survived a near-death experience, but now I realized that someone had almost killed me on purpose. Andrew lowered his gaze. "I couldn't stop them. I didn't know until it was too late. I tried braking, I tried steering, but it was impossible. I almost lost everyone, just like you almost lost your life." Tears welled up in my eyes. Anger mixed with fear, swirling in a dangerous storm inside me. How could someone be so cruel? To want to take life like that, to play with fate. For hours, I lay in the hospital bed, my body weak but my mind sharp. I thought about the crash, about the people I saw injured, about the faces of the children and the elderly who were thrown around like dolls. And I thought about Andrew, who seemed broken and lost. Despite everything, I knew one thing. I had survived. I had been given a second chance, a gift so precious that I could not waste it. But now, I also knew I needed to understand why it had happened and whether that danger was truly gone. The next morning, my doctor entered with a calm but serious look. "Grandma Tola, your condition is improving," he said. "Your head injury is healing, but your leg is still weak. You will need months of therapy, and it will be painful." I nodded silently, feeling a mix of relief and dread. Relief that I was alive, dread that life would never be the same. For the next few days, the hospital became a mix of visitors, nurses, and quiet reflection. Rose stayed by my side, helping me eat, helping me sit up, helping me breathe through the pain. Little Lillian brought flowers, books, and her endless chatter that somehow made the long hours bearable. Yet every night, I thought about that moment when I almost died. I thought about the accident and the darkness that swallowed me. And I thought about the person who had tried to end lives. One afternoon, I felt strong enough to sit by the window. Sunlight poured into my room, warming my skin. Birds chirped outside, as if life had gone on without me noticing. I tried to smile to feel hope, but in my heart, a shadow remained, a shadow of fear, of anger, of the unknown. Then, as I looked out, I saw something that made my blood freeze. A figure standing across the street just outside the hospital. Someone was watching me, not casually, not by chance, but with purpose. I squinted, trying to see the face. My heart raced. Could it be the person who tampered with the brakes, or someone else who wanted to finish what was almost done? Rose noticed my sudden stiffening. "Grandma, what is it?" she asked, following my gaze. I shook my head, too afraid to speak. The figure turned slightly and disappeared behind the corner. But I knew, somehow, deep in my bones, that the danger was not over. My life had been spared once, but someone, somewhere, still wanted to take it. And just like that, I realized that surviving the accident was only the beginning. Because what happened next would test every ounce of my courage. Looking back, it all feels like a blur, a mix of fear, pain, and moments of unexpected grace. That accident that almost took my life changed me in ways I could never have imagined. I was forced to confront my own mortality, to see how fragile life truly is, and to discover the strength I didn't know I had. The journey from that hospital bed to walking again was not easy. My leg was weak, my body scarred, and my mind heavy with memories of that terrifying day. But I refused to give up. Each step in physical therapy, each tear I shed in frustration, each moment I felt like quitting, I pushed through. I reminded myself constantly, I survived for a reason. My story wasn't finished. And it wasn't just about me. Rose, Lillian, and even Andrew showed me the meaning of love, forgiveness, and resilience. I learned that survival isn't just about living. It's about choosing hope when everything around you seems dark. It's about taking the fear that could paralyze you and turning it into courage that propels you forward. I also learned the power of life lessons hidden in pain. That day on the bus, that moment when death almost claimed me, taught me to value every breath, every hug, every smile. Life can change in an instant, and the people we love are the treasures we must never take for granted. Some nights I still remember the crash, the blood, the darkness. But now I see it differently. It's no longer only a moment of fear, it's a moment of awakening. A reminder that even in our weakest state, the human spirit can endure, recover, and triumph. Today, I walk, I laugh, I embrace my family with a gratitude I never knew I could feel so deeply. I tell my story not because I want pity, but because I want others to know this truth. No matter how dark the storm, there is hope. No matter how close to the edge you fall, you can survive. You can rise. You can reclaim your life. So here I am, Grandma Tola, alive, strong, grateful, and ready to face whatever comes next, because I know now more than ever that life is a miracle worth fighting for every single day. The accident tried to take me, but it could not. My story continues, and it always will.